What's good? What's going on? Masculine Post here. Welcome to the channel. Go ahead and like and subscribe and share the love and get the word out. Okay, let's talk about it. As much as we may face injustice in this world of some form, whether it's at work, whether it's in relationship, or whether just at school, there is a law. In the scriptures, it talks about reaping what you sow. Okay, you reap what you sow, and some people say karma, and some other expressions, what goes around comes around. So somebody is making sure there's a law of some type of justice. Now, wherever there's injustice, it may take place for a period of time. There's always going to be a correction when that injustice is met with justice, no matter what. So, an example, let's say you're a bully and you're this badass in high school, you're just terrorizing everybody. At some point, perhaps you turn to a life of crime and then you met with the law and there's the justice. So even though we hear about stories about mafia cartels in Colombia and Mexico, for the longest time they have this ultra wealthy lifestyles. They live very lavish lifestyles, and they had honchos and everything else, and then they're met with justice. Okay, now these are negative things, but in the interrelational dynamic, is we've had not one, as somebody who was going through this myself, but I experienced lots of personal stories I heard from friends of mine of negative experiences they've experienced in the dating world. And the negativity was stemming from women to men, you know. And if we advance that to marriage, we all know the statistics, how much females have been comfortable to take hold of the laws which are there. Now, of course, the laws could be there, and each woman could choose and say, you know what, I know the laws, I know I got this, I could use this gun on you, but I won't take it because I love you, I loved you, and I wouldn't do you like that. But that's not the case. We know that for the most part, most women have done a lot of men dirty. A lot of men are jaded, and a lot of men have become who they are. Even F boys, I believe, that produced by women, because most men, if you look at the '90s, early 2000 R&B scene, it was talk about men being in love. '80s type of thing. Love songs. Men generally want to take care of women. Now, why is it that you have an oversupply now of men who just want to pump and dump? That's been produced by women based on their desire, based on how they move, not what they say. You know, we see that through and through. We don't need to dive into that. But the point is that from a relational dynamic, from ghosting to reading your text messages, not replying, women in their prime have exercised a great deal of power and showed men how little they care. Okay, it's almost like me being a parent, and when my child is small, I'm going to show them that I have the power. So I'll whoop that child so that they know who the parent is. But at some point, that child, especially if it's a male, he may grow bigger than me while I grow weak. Okay, and the tables could turn. So that's the tables turning could be the justice. So in the face of injustice, so the injustice has been all this family law like the courts, the no shaming. A woman cannot be shamed for the bad that she do if she exits a relationship, or he must not been doing something. That's what they say. There must be something that he was doing. If she abandons her children, or maybe she was just depressed. A man is not afforded that grace. So overall, women are given excuses even for terrible behaviors, heinous crimes, paternity frauds, where she is very aware that the person she's in uh, claiming that he's the father, she's very aware that's not the father. And when it's discovered, she's let go. So other women see this injustice take place, and like, I could participate in that injustice. The good woman is the one that has these laws there, has this access, pool of access to these tools, and says, you know what, the good thing to do, the godly thing to do, is to not participate in these things, is to not be involved at all. Uh, and I'm gonna do what's right because it's the right thing to do. But we've seen people from all walks of life, even the people who claim to be believers, gladly participate in this divorce courts, participate in it, breaking up of families, participate in this destroying these men. Even I pity the men that this happens to when they're in their late 50s or 60s type of thing, because it destroys you. But the point I wanted to emphasize in this talk is that in this interview is that um, that's the injustice that's been allowed to play out for a long time. And let me give an example. Let's say slavery. Slavery benefited certain individuals for a long time. They had a good thing. They were just getting that good thing happening. Everybody knew it was wrong, but they didn't mind as long as they were reaping rewards. So the majority of females have had that. Now, the injustice is now being met with justice. It's not a rapid movement as far as men doing it. It started with, like men's rights trying to. That didn't make a lot of waves. Now, then there's MGTOW, and then there's the manosphere, there's the red pill, and now there's passport bros. These are just symptoms of men trying the justice flowing through those different movements. That justice is slowly flowing. Now, just like the slave masters, instead of saying, hey, my goodness, we you know what, we participated in something so evil and cruel, it was wrong of us. But they want to protect their own interests. So instead of apologizing, they don't see nothing wrong with it. They shame you, yell at you, trying to whip you into shape, get on podcasts, infiltrate your manosphere and say, any man, a real man, wouldn't walk away from being a good slave. A real man could not be doing this. You should just comply and marry us, even if we got, like, I've slept with 100 men or 1,000 men, because we got crazy body counts these days. Even if I've slept with that many men, you should just marry me because that's what you're supposed to do. I own you. You're beneath me. You comply to my will and whims and desires. I'm a woman. Just being in your presence, you should be paying me for that. That's the level of injustice and the audacity that's been taking place. I show up, you pay me. I got children by different guys, but you're less than these guys. So you're going to marry me and you're going to adopt all these children and you're going to pay me because I deserve it. The slave masters would have thought the same way because I purchased you, work for me. You're sick, okay? And now you want to leave? I'm going to shame you. So there's no humility from this other party because they purposely participated in this. And the men see that. So therefore, they cry. The whole, it's getting hard out here. Men ain't hearing it because they're like, hey, you participate in that injustice. Now the justice is coming. But the justice is only strong when men know their value. We know there's those who comply, who will gladly get back and, who like just waiting for someone to say, hey, to get some crumbs, and then they're going to turn back. But for those men who understand their value by the numbers, and I know it's going to be a small segment of powerful men saying, hey, I know who you are. And you're not even saying sorry because you're sorry. You're saying sorry because you hate the fact of this void is going to cause if I'm not here. It's going to cause a void because I was holding you down. I was propping you up while you're climbing and riding different things, participating in all kind of debased behavior, and I was okay with it because society conditioned me to do that. Hollywood participated in it. They made TV shows upon TV shows. Magazines talk bad about us. Y'all learn manipulation. We were not privy to that manipulation that you're versed in. Men were just all about providing. They're just going to work, come home. If a woman ain't happy, do this. And now we're privy that you've been playing these games. And now I know these things. Now the games are being known because y'all telling on yourselves in TikToks. Now we know. So now I'm walking away. And that's the type of justice that men are bringing to the table. Men are looking at young children being raised by women twerking to Sexy Red and Sukiana. And we have all these false leaders out there who make a whole lot of noise. I'm not going to say a certain doctor. I'm not going to say that, but we have these leaders, so-called leaders, quite comfortable just talking, waffling. We need action, and men are taking that action. and it's making a difference. And these women, instead of humbling themselves and unlearning and relearning new behaviors, they shame everybody associated with those men that are leaving. That's the justice eventually. But it's about to get worse because that justice, that just tells you you reap what you sow in anything. And the same thing with this man, as justice is being administered, if they sow some bad seeds, it's gonna come back to them. Unfortunately, now we're seeing that old women are dying alone. No next of kin type of thing. You don't have no children because you made some bad decisions. You were busy working out your moves on many, many days. Okay, your sex game was on point, but you got nothing to show for it in your old age. So this being the case now, that then means that the justice is being served. You either take the consequences. Some men may be manipulated back into the situation, but most people are not because we heard it too long. Okay, justice, not meanness, not trying to disrespect. Because the amount of things women have said about men, some women have gone as far as stating that we can abort black baby boys. That's the vitriol. And what was the basis for that? Just because they could. So now, to that type of language, it's going to be a justice being served. And when the justice is served, it is what it is. So it's time for men to speak up because it's been long overdue. And those women try to shame it, go ahead and do that. But it's not going to do anything. Eventually, you won't get the fruits of the seeds you sow. Let me not make this too long. Peace, love, and blessings.